Great. I think we are live now. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this webinar, Landing.Jobs partnership with our amazing client, Farfetch. I believe you all know this amazing brand. It's a British-Portuguese online luxury fashion retail platform. And are you aware that they are hiring 45 new people to their teams? So loads of chances. So take a look at them through the CTA button in the bottom of the page. So don't be shy. Say hello here in the chat box. Just to present myself, my name is Christina. I'm the event specialist at Landing.Jobs talent team. So just to give you some technical and introductory details now, feel free to ask your questions. You may find the section on the bottom of the screen, which name is Ask a Question. We will be addressing all the questions by the end of this talk. Also, please share some information about yourselves so we can get to know each other by using the polls we have made. Also in the bottom of the screen, our guests, our speakers would love to know more about your experience and some details. And now presenting our guests, each one of them will be giving like a 15-minute speech/presentation on what they are and what they do at Farfetch. Luis Trindade will start. He's the principal product manager for experimentation area at Farfetch, promoting a test and launch center of excellence across the company. And Luis Sena is the senior principal engineer at Farfetch, where he bridges the gap between data science and software engineering with a MLOps mindset. Please welcome them, and the stage is now yours, Luis, and I'll be back soon, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Christina, for the presentation. Actually, you stole already one of my slides, which was giving a quick introduction about Farfetch. So I'll probably skip it, but thanks for that. And yeah, without further ado, let me start by sharing my screen and guide you a bit through a bit of a story. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story of what we have been doing here at Farfetch, and then Sena will give you a bit of more practical example about what we are also doing. So yeah, without further ado, let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, so let's start by introducing myself very briefly. Like Christina just mentioned, I'm managing and leading the area of experimentation at Farfetch. I've been at Farfetch almost for 6 years, so a bit of a dinosaur already here. Started when the Farfetch Lisbon Tech Hub also opened, so have been around for a bit. But just, yeah, my story, computer science engineer by heart, went through lots of craziness of the startups, was part of a company builder that actually helped to bootstrap and validate many concepts. That created me an amazing experience of knowing how to test concepts and products and how they were reacting and behaving for some of the users. Since then, also I've been helping others as a mentor to bootstrap their startups. And here at Farfetch, when I joined, I started by leading the area of data products. So very connected here with what Sena is going to mention, some of the examples that he's going to mention a bit later. And like I said, in the past 4 years, I've been leading this area of experimentation. And as you probably have guessed from my background, yes, I'm a super fan of Legos. So an adult fan of Legos, for the ones that don't know what is an AFO. So yeah, you can also ask me lots of questions about those sets. And I think you'll get some of the jokes that I have prepared during the presentation about that. Hopefully they are jokes. Please laugh about them or not. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, Farfetch in 1 minute. Christina already mentioned it super well. We are the ultimate goal for Farfetch is, some of you may know it as the marketplace that started 12 years ago already. And It's a marketplace for luxury items, but it started to evolve towards what is our current vision of actually being the luxury platform for the luxury platform, meaning that what we are doing is building a platform to allow others even to build their presences on top of our systems. Namely, big clients like Harrods, Chanel. So they are building their entire solutions on top of us, and a few others that we cannot mention. But besides that, we also have been growing as a group. So we have, besides Farfetch, we also have a few brands that are part of our business that have been creating this complete view of being a platform and an ecosystem. So yeah, that being said, let's start. And yes, this is completely made out of Lego. And for the ones that don't know this movie, because it goes back in time, I use it here as a reference. Like I was telling you, I'm going to try to give you a story of how we started and how we have been evolving and where we are right now. Hopefully, then it's when we will also give you some insights of some examples, concrete examples of what we have been doing, and hopefully a quick glimpse around the future. So let's start this journey back to the future. Farfetch started with experimentation, like I told you, 12 years ago, building a marketplace, of course, which is tinier than what we were right now. But experimentation has been always part of our DNA as a company. Anything that has been done in terms of product development has been really crucial about the actual evolution of the company. I can even say, probably not just because of the example from Farfetch, but even looking at many other companies that are successful, that when they actually, the big companies of the world, the Netflix, Airbnbs, Microsoft, all of them, they have actually something in common, which is the goal of really embracing experimentation on everything that they are doing as part of their product development. By the way, just answering a quick question, where we are based from. I'm based in Lisbon, so yes, and we are doing these experimentation practices and using these toolings as part of that work. And we always got something that is quite challenging sometimes, but I can probably give you some tips during this presentation that got us the sponsoring starting from our CEO up to everyday persons on doing this, having this mindset. Because experimentation is not necessarily a tool. Some of you may know it as running A/B tests. But experimentation is much, much more than that. It's actually just applying this scientific method on everything that we are doing that we can even apply on our daily lives. So let me go back through what we have been doing. So in the early ages of Farfetch, we immediately started investing on having our own in-house experimentation platform. We call it FABs. Put on the chat what are your guesses of what FABs means, and then we will see if we have a winner. And yeah, that was a purely engineering solution at the time. We didn't have any type of interface. Everything was completely manual. So it was basically doing the coin flipping that normally an experimentation platform does to support these A/B tests. We were already doing all our analysis in-house, and we were even doing and implementing our in-house event tracking system, which is basically what will tell us if something is better than another. So yeah, you can guess that yes, definitely we are a tech company. We are building our own tools because that's actually part of the strategy of the company. We are not just another e-commerce retailer that is building their platform on top of others, but actually investing on building our platform and doing it in a way that actually will be part of this modularized solution that will allow us other tenants, other clients to take advantage of everything that we have been doing. But that was even at the stage where that wasn't what we were thinking about it, but we were already applying all those concepts and validating them. When I joined, so back to 4 years ago, one of the first things that I did was trying to understand, because we were growing as a normal company, And we also started having multiple offices, more people. We had the need to, yes, every team was doing experiments, but we needed a way to actually, how can we really understand? How can we keep the practices at a good level, and that we can do it in a scalable way, so we can keep doing these in not just number of experiments, but really in the quality that we were always pushing forward. For that, one of the things that I would love to highlight with you is we need to start measuring where we are right now. Each and every different company, they will have different maturities on how they are perceiving and running their product development practices, and especially around experimentation. One of the models that I really enjoy, and then I can follow up with some links here on the chat, is this experimentation growth model. And it's a free survey that you can just run by yourself. And then if you apply it and answer very honestly about how you are doing it at your company, you will try. This will give you a notion divided by multiple dimensions on where you are at each of these different stages. And what we did was exactly that, was trying to understand, and that's actually something that we do regularly, to understand where we are and where should be the areas that we need to focus more. It's more about the quality of the experiment, how we are doing it. The dimensions are others, like the quality of our data systems, the quality of our experimentation platform, how we are also doing this, how we are involved, how we are organized. And let me tell you a bit more about this story. But before that, just a reminder: one size doesn't fit all, as anything. Even when we are doing experimentation, like I told you, we can apply it on anything. And what we see from others, we just can use that as insights of what can work with us or with our clients, but maybe it will not. And that's why it's so important to test and validate if things work, including processes. So take with a bit of salt any of the suggestions that I'm going to give you, but I will tell you how it has been working and how it's been working so well here at Farfetch until now. So in terms of organizational models, there are many, and this can be applied actually to anything, but talking more specifically about experimentation. Many teams actually, many companies, what they do is actually starting with a centralized model. It's the most simple to start. It's basically saying we have the entire company, they want to do experiments, but because they don't have the expertise, let's start with having a centralized team that run all the experiments. They have the knowledge, they have the capabilities, and they will run everything. As you probably imagine, doing that, it's not scalable, right? Because the bigger the company is, the bottleneck will become bigger and bigger on that centralized module. And also, I'm a true believer teaching how to fish instead of giving the fish, right? Because that's how we attain the real growth and scalable way in a good manner. So in that sense, actually what we have been doing and organized by ourselves was creating this center of excellence model, where we actually have a central team, the one that I'm leading, that actually provides what we are the best tooling. And this is the mission that we have, is providing the right tooling to elevate standard practices to support experimentation across the company. We don't run experiments by ourselves. We teach and provide guidance to all the teams in the company to actually run better experiments. But why I'm saying this and why this is so important? Let me tell you now also how I see experimentation. And all experimentation programs in general, they are split in three main pillars. The first one being education and knowledge share. It's very important first people know how to do things, because that way they will be able to do faster iterations. They will be able to find where actually they should keep investing, because experimentation is not just about validating the outcomes of something. Is this better than the other? Is this better? This green button is better than the blue button? That's not the ultimate goal. What we need is this new approaches, these new functionalities, this new business model better than the other, which is much stronger. That's where you actually get the value of doing experimentation, is actually anticipating and to be able to do better business decisions. For that, we need to focus a lot on education. We also need to focus a lot on sharing that knowledge, because when we run experiments, especially when you are in a big company, we need also, it's not just to run the experiment, learn from it, but it's actually all about sharing it with everybody, so they also can use it as insights to make themselves better. That's what I'm also trying here to do, is sharing what we have been doing, so you can also apply it on your daily lives and your companies. The second is all about adoption and engagement. As everything, as any program normally works, we need to engage people, but at the same time, we need to keep them evolving and being better continuously. So how can we really create these new mindset across everybody and keep it there, still stimulating it in a way that actually they will apply it every single time. They will question whenever somebody new comes in and pushes back about doing something. So we need to provide them the tools to actually keep growing on that engagement. And last but not least, I already mentioned a bit about our experimentation platform, because we need to provide the tools for the teams to actually run all those experiments in a way that it's solid, that can provide the right evidence that we are doing. I'm not going to bother you here, but I'm just going to, with some tactics that we actually are doing on how to achieve these. But some of the tactics are more about on the education part. We are very present on helping the teams to define strategies. That's the most important. Sometimes people need to have guidance. What are they trying to solve? What are the opportunities that they are trying to capture? How to get there. And I'll talk a bit more about product discovery, which for me is definitely one of the best ways on how to do product development as a whole. And keeping everything in a single place, storing all that knowledge that is the main output from running experiments in a way that is easy for people to consult, go there, try to get more inspiration and insights on how to improve the follow-up ideas. We also do this, so the way of doing adoption, for me, the only way that works is learn on the job and keep people doing and repeating themselves on what are the good things. And how to do that instead of doing it alone is doing it in forums where people can join, just listen, or simply participate and give feedback to others about how they are doing, how they are going to do it, how they define success for their hypotheses, learn from what what worked, what didn't work, what did we actually what happened. And demystify here something that is very associated with experiments, which is, are you going to run an experiment? Whoa, what if it loses? Are you throwing away money and time just because you tested something that doesn't work? Is that good? Actually, that's awesome, because that means that actually you were preventing loss, meaning that you learned something that instead of simply running it, executing it, and not knowing nothing about it, actually that's amazing. So one of the main things that we actually changed was trying to reconfigure how people feel about failure when they run experiments, and actually see it as something really good. More actually, when you fail big, those are the big wow moments, because those moments is when you actually know, I invested so much, I had lots of insights about this, and actually this is everything is telling me that actually this is not working. Great, I learned something new about my customers, about my business. So that's basically one of the main goals of these test and learn sessions that are completely open to the entire company, from C-levels to the developers below, that they will be able to learn what's happening, what works, what doesn't work, and why. In terms of the experimentation platform, like I said, we have been building it entirely in-house, and it evolved a lot since that version FABS 1.0. I haven't got yet any answers or guesses what means FABS, so still waiting for them. And what we have been doing is really evolving it. Like I said, it's strategic for us to actually have something that is a crucial part of our platform that we are building. We also have an entire system around feature toggles, meaning that in terms of code releases, they are all supported around a feature toggle that allows them to control and have solid confidence of what's going on. This allows to have continuous deployment happening without breaking anything, and then the decision of when to activate it comes later. And that activation, instead of simply activating it to everybody, we can choose who is going to see it partially. We can, of course, connect it with an experiment almost all the times, and understand exactly what is the effect of anything that is actually deployed. That's a major win of what we have been doing there. Also on the statistics side, because when we run an experiment, we need to understand if one thing is better than another. We also took the chance of evolving and implemented even our own statistical engine, which is one of the breakthroughs, and we are even creating some papers around it, because we are doing some great work there, which has been allow us to make better decisions ultimately. But at the same time, improving that last part, which is the deep analysis of what happened. Is this better or worse? That's just the start of a conversation when we run an experiment. We need to understand why. Is this good for everybody? Is just this bad for some users, for some segments? And that's the part that we have been investing a lot on, how to do that in a scalable way and in a self-service manner, because that's the only way that an experimentation platform can push forward. And here, last but not least on my part, what I wanted was to, and connect also with the title of the presentation, because this is all about why building an actual experimentation culture and mindset actually will lead to better product outcomes. I hope that some of these discussions that I already mentioned to you and telling you that experimentation is not necessarily just a tool, it's more evidenced here. And I found this illustration. This comes from Tim Herbig. He's an amazing consultant that posts a lot, has some amazing courses. Check his website. But he created this illustration that is like really great and tries to condensate the whole thing about, yes, when we talk about experimentation, probably we'll see just there on inside that blue bubble of product discovery around validation. And it feels that just that. No, that's actually part of everything that we are seeing here, because as you probably see, the only way that a company can succeed is by having a very clear strategy. The strategy, that's what will allow us to have really what works, what doesn't work, finding the right trade-off between what's working or not to create these evidence-based decisions. This is what actually will inform also the goals that the company will have. And product discovery, which is actually the way of doing product, by applying continuously this iterative mindset that will allow us to find what are the right problems, what are the right solutions to actually achieve those strategies. So yeah, now Sena, take the lead.
Thank you, Luis. Hello, everyone. So I'm a senior principal engineer at Farfetch. I've been working in software for more than 10 years now. I started as a typical software engineer doing backend, frontend, bit of full stack. Eventually, I was drawn more and more into just the backend. And from the last few years, I've been mainly focusing on machine learning engineering, which has been really an amazing change for me. It's a field that I really love, and it's where I plan on focusing more and more. In terms of my hobbies, I love mountain biking. It's my favorite hobby. I used to do at least 5,000 kilometers per year. Nowadays, now that I have a kid, it is maybe once a week. I'll have time to do a ride, and I'll be happy with that. But it's life. Now moving to the next slide. Please, good. Okay, thanks. At Farfetch, we are already implementing a lot of machine learning models. We have dozens of them running at all times, or even maybe in the few hundreds now. at all time. And the one that I'm going to talk about today is the one where we try to recommend relevant items to a user when you are browsing a specific product page. There's dozens of strategies that we can use, and we use different strategies according to different data points or different users. But there's one thing, right? So we already have this working in production. It works great. We love it, but there's always this question that we ask ourselves, which is, can we do better? And to answer that, we need to look at the data, and we look at the data to try to form hypotheses like we was talking about earlier. And if we move to the next slide, one thing that we discovered when we looked at the data is that the users most of the times will be including the designer on their search queries, so the brand. And that leads us to think, well, maybe giving some kind of weight or importance to the brand or using it somehow might lead to a better experience for the user, better recommendations, more relevant, and then in the end that also means better conversion, at least in theory. Then moving to the next slide. Okay, so that's the hypothesis here, right? We looked at the data. People seem to consider brand to be really important for them. Our target audience, you need to remember that we are talking about the luxury retail, luxury market. So people tend to love certain brands more than just the other types of e-commerce or fashion, where you have fast fashion, where people will switch clothes really often, and maybe the brand itself doesn't matter as much because they don't follow a specific designer. They follow maybe a specific trend only. And then what we want is to go through with these hypotheses. Next slide. And so, but what does brand affinity mean? What does it mean to give importance to a brand? That is a bit of a more complicated question, so I'll use the next slide to try to go a bit deeper into that question. So what we try to do here is, okay, so we already have recommendations for products. The way we do it in a very simplified way, I can tell you that we use, look at the image of the product, try to see similar products to that product visually, and that will be the recommendation that we give to the user. But that has zero to do with the brand, because we might have different brands that will give you similar looking jackets or more or less the same design. So what was the idea? We looked at our corpora of brands, and we extracted the text from each brand, the relevant text. We transform that text into tokens so that we don't have repetition. So we call it stemming, which is we don't need similar tokens to train our model. We just care about individual tokens that actually have their own weight on this. And with that, we create a database of tokens that are relevant for each brand. And then we use a model. And so I'm not sure how many people here are already knowledgeable about how this kind of models works, but basically this model can receive those tokens as inputs. It will train, and then we will we'll label it and say, okay, so a dress and a skirt are similar. So the model will receive those inputs and will tell it those are similar, so we should give it a similar score. And doing that for all the tokens that we have will train the model into knowing when you go and you give it a skirt and then a dress in terms of text, it will give us a similar score for them. But if you give it a shirt and address, the score maybe will be lower because it was not trained to think that those are similar to each other. So what that gives us is, in the end, a model that will give us the score for brands that are similar to each other. Now we have the model that gives us products that are similar to each other, and then we have a model that gives us brands that are similar to each other. What we do with that is what we call a model assemble, where we'll join the score of the products, and then we'll join the score of the products that are in brands that are similar to each other, and that will boost all the products that are not only similar, but are also from similar brands to the product that the user is browsing currently. And that's the final model that we ended up with. We built all the pipelines that were needed for this, training the model, transforming the data, deploying the model to production. But then there's something missing, right? Which is showing it to the user. So if you go to the next slide, please. So how can you do that? And that's where Fabs comes in. We could just throw it in the wild, try to wild guess at how it was going on, maybe check at the end of the month how the sales were, and maybe have some sort of idea how things, if the hypothesis was actually any good. But that's just really dangerous, especially for a company at the scale at Farfetch. So what you do is actually use our experimentation platform to deploy that, release it to the users, and then the platform will automatically split users into the control, and the control was our previous recommender that we already loved and were using to great success, and also the alternative, which is our new idea, the new model that also takes into account brands to give similar products and recommendations to the user. That will run through a certain amount of time until it will converge in a result, be it positive or negative, and that's all controlled by Fab. So that means that we can do hundreds of these experiments with very, very little overhead, thanks to a platform that already does everything out of the box. And that's tremendous for us. It allows us to experiment and iterate really fastly. We already run, we are running different experiments at any given time. We try to, I think we are never without an experiment, because for us, that's like lost time. If we are not doing an experiment, for us, it's like throwing time away, because it's precious data that we could have gathered that we are not using. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. So this specific experiment was actually a really good success. The click-through rate increased 7 to 10%, which is really good for no stock product details. So that this means, and it's more or less expectable, if a user goes into a product detail page and it doesn't have stock, it doesn't have articles available for sale, the recommendations will be really good, because I cannot buy this, but I can actually buy this one. It's really similar, and it's actually from a brand that I love that usually has similar stuff to the one that I'm browsing on. With stock, it also really increased to a lower extent, but still really significant, 5%, which is really good. And then the most important metric for us, which is add to bag, or one of the most important ones, also increased to a really good measure, between 2 and 3%. So this was a really good experiment. It ran well and it was a success, but even if it failed, we would learn a lot, and we would have the necessary data to do a deep dive and understand why it failed. Was the problem in production? Maybe the model actually was good, but it was not well deployed, so it was not predicting stuff as it should, because we did something wrong. Or our initial hypothesis was wrong because our market analysis was not the best, but at least we'll have the necessary data to understand this and take the necessary steps to improve it for the next time. To give you a concrete example, some of the startups I was working on previously before Farfetch, we would burn millions of dollars to implement new stuff that would fail, and we learned zero from it. It was really frustrating for us as developers because we were building features all the time. They would get scraped because they said it failed, but we had zero idea why it failed, no numbers. It was just all good feeling from the execs or products or whatever. And in the end, we were really frustrated. And with this, I don't mind when it fails. At least we are able to learn. And the next one, we have a really good chance that it might work better thanks to the data. So I'm really thankful that we have such a good platform at Farfetch because it has been really amazing being able to experiment in security and always taking lessons from what we actually release to our users. And yeah, next, passing on to you, Wish.
And yeah, just to close up, again, thanks, Anna, for guiding us through a very concrete example of what we have been doing, and we are running these on everything that we run. So let me tell you a bit the future and basically what we have been doing and why we are doing it. And the best way to really do that is by following this model. It feels basic, but it's really powerful when we look at it, because how can we really move forward? How can we improve what we have been doing? And it all starts with this flywheel, because we start by running more tests because they will support better decisions, like you are saying. That will lead us to measure the value of what we are doing, like Luis just explained this specific example. When we do that, also the business will get more interest on doing these A/B tests, because then they will see the value of that this can bring. That will also lead to have more investment on better capabilities and having better teams to help, like the team that we currently have, helping to bootstrap these interests. That, of course, will lower the cost of running A/B tests. Like, again, as Anna was mentioning, it's super easy. The overload is minimal to run hundreds of experiments if we want. So it's just all about us to do that. And that, of course, will lead to run more experiments and continue evolving our experimentation maturity model. So it's as simple as this. It feels simple, but it's all about this, taking the right steps in the right direction that will lead to have a better platform that will help us, all of us, to run better and more. So as a summary, and just a few key learnings from this session, it's super important that we need to get the sponsoring from our leaders. This is what will enable even to kickstart this flying wheel. We need to start somewhere. Sometimes we cannot change the entire company in one goal, but let's start with a small team, your team, somebody that can actually has the drive to start doing this and start showing it and keep spinning the wheel to actually get more and more people engaged with this. Like I said at the beginning, if there is also one single thing that you take away, and I would be super glad that you could take away, is this: experimentation is not a tool, it's a mindset. And because it's a mindset, you can use it at all times. When you are developing a product, when you are coding something, when you are proposing a new model on data science, when you are on your life trying to figure out why your toaster doesn't toast, you can always apply this scientific approach. Getting insights, having observations, proposing a change, guessing what is actually going to happen. That's very important. Creating a prediction, observing, basically run the test, and then learn from it and take better iterations. That's what this is. This is nothing new, nothing very difficult, not rocket science, but you can apply it every time that we're doing it. When we are at the company level, we also need to understand where we are, so we understand where should we focus next to iterate. So any tools that can help you understand where you are, where you should invest your time to improve, that's always the best. And last but not least, it's all about these. We also need to have very clear strategies, goals, to run all these product discovery cycles that we run, which is crucial for what we are doing. because that's what is going to ultimately lead to impactful outcomes. And yeah, with that being said, thank you. You have our contact. Oops, it misses an M on your email, Senna. And also, you can read more about experimentation on this free ebook. Doesn't ask even emails, etc. Just go to this blog, Google digital experimentation at Farfetch, and you will be able to read more about what we have been doing. So yeah, with that being said, thank you all. And any questions, please ask them.
Luis, maybe you could share that link here in the chat so people can have it more easily. It looks like our audience is really shy. No one is doing any questions. So I hope you made the best of this. It was really interesting, even to me that I'm not related to data science or product management, but it was really good to hear from you. And yeah, that's it. So let me just check here. What else can we add to this? So I don't know if you all know, but later today we'll have another Farfetch webinar, this time more related to DevOps. I will write the link here in the chat as well if you are interested in attending. And thank you so much, Luis and Luis, for being here with us today. And for being here, sharing your experience and your knowledge. And Farfetch is really an amazing place to develop this project. So thank you so much for sharing them. And if you're looking for some opportunities, again, there's a Farfetch link button. Just to wrap up as well. So, Luis, most of the people that are here with us, they have well, the experience they have more experience. They are not that data science professionals, but some of them are really interested in, and some of them are in project management. Just 3 people have run an experiment. So that was the question you would love to know about, right? So you have 3 people that already did it. So thank you so much. And thank you, Olshan, for being here with us also, one of our attendees. And that's it. Thank you so much, and see you again in an in-person
Looking
event.
Forward for an in-person event with all of you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.